Hey everyone, Nat Daddy here, and we got a giant week of books here. Over 30 books to look at for you guys. Let's jump right into it. First on our list is Absolute Green Lantern, issue number 5. We find out finally in this issue how Joe becomes the Green Lantern and how Hal becomes the Black Hand. Now I'm liking this book because up until now, of all the absolutes, I wasn't really caring for this book as much, but now with this, I actually am. It seems to have a little bit more meaning, and how they're showing the Black Hand and how it's like kind of monstrous and so alien is really cool. We're seeing more of a Hector Hammond being this ultra rich corporate douchebag who's trying to figure out how to harness and steal all this stuff that's going on with this Green Lantern. Yeah, it's finally coming up pretty cool. So I'm glad to see that's picked up. From DC as well, we have issue 10 of Absolute Superman. This is another issue where I've liked this series a lot, and this is turning into quite a badass issue. The Superman in this issue, or in this series, I do like quite a bit. He's a little bit more, I won't say down to earth, but just a little bit more. He struggles more, definitely, with tough choices and that. Being super powerful and trying to live within this world and that. We're seeing more of these ultimate versions of, or absolute versions of characters like Ra's al Ghul and Brainiac and that, and they're kind of messed up as well. And it's just really cool. I'm really liking this a lot. We see here like Clark, we see Superman here, like his cape is kind of like this, nanotechnology stuff, and it's really cool the way it, makes it look like wings and how it uses to be on the offensive. So, liking this a lot. Seeing more about the history of Krypton, and the artwork in here is great as well too. So, definitely check out Absolute Superman, and I'm sure most of you are already. One book that surprises me every month that I read it, and I can't believe I am reading it still, is All New Venom. I'm not a huge Venom fan, all the symbiote stuff. And I'm not a huge fan of Mary Jane being like a superhero. I like Mary Jane being like Peter Parker's girlfriend and stuff. So that's two of my dislikes kind of melded into one here, and it's actually really working. Mary Jane has the Venom symbiote now. Those two are working, or not working, but those two are living together and having to work together. And they're fighting Dr. Octopus in here. So the symbiotes are all trying to help each other out and work together because some of them are in trouble. Doc Ock's experimenting on some of them. Toxin and Sleeper and that are in here as well. So Agent Venom in here, or Anti Venom in here as well. Flash in that. So this is actually really good. I'm enjoying it quite a bit. And yeah, it surprises me every month how awesome it is. Good artwork, lots of great action in here as well. So speaking of the Spider-Man stuff, we got the issue 9 of the new run of the ASM. Quite a good book so far. I'm liking it. This Hellgate character has shown up and really beat Spider-Man's ass quite bad, to the point that he's really beat up in that. And now we see him, a couple of weeks later or so, from recovering from that beating, and he's got casts on, walking canes, so he got beat up pretty bad. And also during that time, he's kind of gone into hiding mode. The city is trying to recover from that Hellgate stuff, and crime is definitely on the upswing because Spider-Man is not out doing his thing. So everybody keeps trying to check up on Peter, and he's just not doing well with it. So he finds out in this issue as well that, again, Mary Jane and the Venom are together. This kind of makes him go down the spiral even more. And finally, at the end of the book, we see Spider-Man show up, and that's a great picture of him in that. So he gets over being beat in that. So from Ahoy Comics, we have the first book in a series called Astral Recall. I like this book. Has really great artwork in it. It's about a fella who is able to recall and I won't say use past lives, but use memories and past lives from famous black people, if that kind of makes sense. So it's a neat book here. I like it. He's living in modern times, trying to survive, trying to deal with this. He kind of has like scatterbrain. It's almost like amnesia in that. And every once in a while, when he is thrust upon situations, like you said, he recalls these skills from previous times. It's almost like he gets kind of somewhat possessed from that spirit for a little while. So kind of neat book. Gonna look into it more as they come out. It's a neat story, and I enjoy the artwork. Bit of a side note here, I always cover Archie books. I don't usually cover the digest though, but after 50 years, this is issue 363 of Archie Jumbo Comics Digest. This is the last digest that they're putting out. Yeah, it kind of came as a shock. They announced this as the book came out, and they're changing the way they do Archie's stuff. So apparently in September, I believe it is, they're going to be starting new Archie #1 kind of digests. They're going to be, instead of monthly, they're going to be, I believe, quarterly, so like seasonally. And they'll definitely be holiday themed for the first couple in that. And they're going to be different sizes as well. So they're not going to be the smaller digest size. I think they're going to be more of how you see some of those little bit larger sizes of the digest as well. They can see like at the Walmarts and stuff like that. So we'll see what happens there. That's a little sad though. So if you see this on the shelf anywhere, like at a Walmart or anything like that, at your grocery store or even at your local comic book store, do pick it up. I'm going to try and find one. And Dan Parent usually comes to the Winnipeg Comic Con in the fall, so I'll try and get him to sign that. Cause more of our Archie stuff here. We got Archie versus Minor Threats. This is kind of a way that they're leaning towards doing Archie nowadays. It seems like more collaborations in that. And we have Dark Horse Comics working with Archie here. We have the simple, innocent, or no more innocent than most people, Riverdale kids and Sabrina trying to go on a field trip. I believe it's to Midnight City, and that's where the minor threat characters are. And they are all kind of B characters, side villains in this universe, which is definitely not Archie like. It is more adult for sure, more like the boys and that. So it's neat seeing these two merge together in that, and I like it how they overlap. So you don't have to be a fan or know the history of either side. So people who read the Minor Threat stuff don't really have to know a bunch of Archie stuff, and vice versa. But great book so far. I really enjoyed this, and I'm definitely going to get more of these as they come out. And this isn't the Dan Parent cover here, but there is a Dan Parent cover, and I have that, and I will try and get him to sign that as well too, because Dan Parent is one of my favorite artists. We have the issue of Betty and Veronica, Summer, Fun in the Sun, and this is but kind of a regular one-shot comics. They put these out seasonal and holidays. This is all beach-related stuff, and it's pretty fun here. The first story is about all the kids going to a water slide park and showing up on Instagram for it, or social media, because they won contests. And then other stuff in here as well too, like this Fran Fraser character who seems to be like a detective type of person. I wasn't too familiar with her. Yeah, and there's other Archie characters as well too, so check it out. Issue 2 of the new series of Captain America from Chip Zdarsky. I read the first issue and I wasn't super sold on it. I did enjoy it though, enough to check out the second issue, and I'm glad I did because the second issue is much better. We find out that while Steve was away, being frozen in ice and that, they made another Captain America or Super Soldier, and now that Steve's back, they're working together, and the replacement one is the one in charge and just seems to be a little bit, less Captain America like. So, familiar story we've seen before. I believe this character's name is Colton. This is showing them going into Latveria and kind of retelling the tale, or telling for the first time Captain America's initial response, initial meeting with Doctor Doom in that. So, good book. I enjoyed this. Definitely better than the first issue, and I will read more of it as well to see how it goes. Doom is very popular right now. Issue 2 of the Illuminati. This is a neat book here. It is about a woman whose sister was killed, and she was a recording artist, and she knows that she was they say it was suicide, but they know she was killed by the music and recording business, and now she's trying to prove her sister's death and investigate it. So enjoyed the artwork in here. A lot of famous big name creators work on these AWA titles. You got Sienkiewicz doing the color on this, Cohen and that doing the writing. So I really enjoyed this a lot. It's a pretty good book. Shows about the music industry in Hollywood and how crooked in that it is. Or can be, I should say. Number 1 of a new Cruel Universe anthology series about time and space. This is all part of the EC books, but are being re-put out by Oni. Great cover there, I like that. And you got 4 stories in here, all having either like a sci-fi or a space theme to it. First story here is about some aliens that make one of them look like a human to try infiltrate Earth and be a sleeper agent, and just kind of start working their way in there. And this is all done by point of view of the alien. What they don't realize is they made him look like a black person, so he is definitely not accepted. So they don't understand why. So that's kind of neat. We have another one here about some people who are trying to build a big translator communicator with dolphins, and what they don't realize is that the sound that they are playing, which they think is like a sweet, happy song that they're singing communication-wise, is actually them in pain in that. So it causes the dolphins to go crazy and kill them. So that's kind of neat too. And then we have another story about, of course, hazardous waste and stuff. Things, not hazardous waste, infectious waste coming back from space and kind of killing people. So we have like a whole thing blob scenario, and then a derelict spaceship one as well, which is done in an old art. So I don't know if this, I'm assuming this is new as well, which is done in that definitely old pre-code style. So those are always great to read. We have the last book. We have number 3 in the series of Daredevil Cold Day in Hell. This is a kind of Dark Knight Rises or Dark Knight Returns version of Daredevil. Matt Murdock is old. He's lost his powers, but recently has regained them because of a bomb accident, and he's trying to not only track down the rest of these bombs, but they're put out by an old decrepit version of Bullseye. So again, this is really neat seeing all these horrible and futuristic versions of Daredevil characters. Really like the artwork in here, and this is definitely a, I won't say sad, but a don't look for a happy ending at the end of this book type of thing. But it is a great book either way. So lots of action. If you like Daredevil versus Bullseye stuff, this is definitely right up your alley too. From Mad Cave, we have Don't Forget Your Briefcase, number 2. This is neat. I remember covering the first issue where there was a woman who works at the White House, and she has to bring her son to work because he's been suspended from school for a few days for fighting, and even though he was the one being bullied. And he always carries around a briefcase with him that was his father's, who we assume he is dead, or we don't really know. During the day, the president actually gets assassinated. Someone shoots him, and during all the confusion of this, the nuclear football, the presidential's briefcase that controls the codes for the nuclear warheads, gets mixed up with this kid's briefcase, and the mom ends up bringing it home by accident. She finds this out at the end of the last issue, and then we also find out too that she is a Russian spy. So that throws a really neat twist in there as well. So she's contacted her holders, and now she's trying to just wait for them to show up and to deal with this. At the same time, the U.S. government is trying to deal with the assassination, and also they've realized the missing football, or the nuclear football. So great book so far. Really enjoying it, especially after this twist now. And yeah, it's just fun. Issue 319 of G.I. Joe, Real American Hero. This is Image continuing the original series all the way back from Marvel in 1985 or 86. Here we have Mindbender, who is an ultimate version of him now. The AI entity, I forget what they call it, is kind of souped him up and made him into like a cyborg and that. And he has this Splinter clone that they're working on in that. So we have some G.I. Joes trying to break into the base, and they're all getting discovered here. So this issue is full of action. You got all your ninjas in there. You got some Joes that are undercover and being discovered, and you also have Cobra Commander breaking out as well too. So great issue. I know everybody loves the new Energon G.I. Joe stuff with the Transformers and that, but for great long-term storytelling, that's been going on for like 40 years now. The G.I. Joe Real American Hero stuff, still being written by Larry Hama, is awesome. We have Godzilla Escape the Dead Zone. This is the second series of that new IDW reboot of the Godzilla universe, where a lot, not only is there kaiju Godzilla creatures and that, a lot of humans have been infected from the radiation and are getting powers and monster-like abilities as well. And that's what this is here. The Dead Zone is Seattle, and that's where all the original Godzilla stuff happened, and where all the monsters have come from. And apparently it's like a no man's land, a wasteland, and nobody lives there apparently because it's too toxic with radiation and that. But we do find out, like in all situations like that, people still survive and do live there, and they live among this like apocalyptic no man's world with these monsters in that. And it happens to focus on this one guy. He's a mysterious kind of drifter that people all hear about, and he's a human that has been mutated by this kaiju energy, and he turns into like almost like a raptor type of thing. So neat artwork here. Definitely enjoyed this book more than the other one that we covered last week, the other new reboot Godzilla stuff. This is just great monster fun. Kaisei, that's what they call it, the Kaisei energy. We have a new Hellboy book here, issue 1 of 2, Hellboy in Love. And this is a series where Hellboy has fallen in love with this archaeologist named Anastasia, and the two of them are out doing some research for her work. Really enjoyed this so far. Just great Hellboy stuff where it's Hellboy and his archaeologist girlfriend here. Usually it's like the team are investigating this cool old mythological witchy stuff, and that's what they're doing here as well too. So they're trying to contact the dead here through this one witch, and it gets pretty intense. So if you're a Hellboy fan, or if you've never read Hellboy before, that'd be a great one to start. Issue 11 of Moon Knight. They've acknowledged that Moon Knight's been around 50 years. Issue 250 was the last one, and now they kind of have a recap of everything that's been going on, because at the end of the last issue it did end a lot of story arc stuff. So this is kind of neat. This whole book is done from a point of view of somebody, and they're getting ready to celebrate Mark's birthday and just the winning of that big war with that Asgardian drug dealer. So everybody's walking around, talking with this one guest, getting everything kind of caught up to date. But we don't really know who the guest is yet. They don't acknowledge it, so that's kind of neat, mysterious as well. We see all the Moon Knight team there cleaning up everything, and the mission mashing. Everybody seems to know this person in that as we're talking and dealing with them, so that's kind of cool as well. And in the very end, we find out it's his daughter. So that is cool. She's come back even though they kind of have an estranged relationship, and now they're maybe going to connect a little bit more. And also as well, with that sword that Moon Knight has acquired during this last arc that steals souls, and that he's able to revive the Midnight Mission, which is the house that they use as a headquarters that actually was like a living sentient being, but was killed. So he's able to bring that back to life. So it's kind of like, again, the starting of the whole arc. Right, what else we got here? The next issue in the One World Under Doom miniseries. I've enjoyed this series so far, where Doom is the emperor of the world, and he's, looks like he's doing good on the surface and that, but all the heroes are trying to, prove that he's not, and they know he's not, even though they can't, figure out how or why. He's done all kinds of miraculous things, so the world loves him. In here, we have Doom and Reed Richards kind of, meeting off in a debate. It seems kind of hokey in that first. I was almost going to stop reading it. And then it got kind of cool towards the end, where the Avengers finally are able to get into Doom's castle and find out how he's been able to do all this and be so far powerful. And it turns out he's harvesting everybody's life energy, all the citizens of his country, to be ultra powerful. So that finally gets released and shown to the public, and Doom shuts down the signal on that. But during this time, we see this cool thing where he actually rips like Reed Richards apart. So they actually are faithful to what the cover is, where it shows Doom ripping apart Reed. So I was surprised about that. From Mad Cave, we have number 1, the first issue of Orla. This is a neat stories here. It says a boy, a girl, and her hungry monster. So we see this Orla character, which is a woman who does all these dating apps and always seems to find jerks in that, which I'm sure there's a lot of. Everybody's a jerk. They're always commenting about her because she's pretty, but maybe not like super mall pretty. And when people do come to her house, after these apps for maybe some fooling around, she turns into this crazy demon monster that ends up eating and killing these people. So that's what she does. So it's not her that does this. It's this monster that's kind of lives inside her and controls her to do this stuff to eat these people and that. So it's almost like, I won't say it's like Dexter, where Dexter's a serial killer and goes around killing other bad people, but it's kind of like that, where it's a monster and kills all these douchebag, horrible men on dating apps. So like it, funny, art's pretty cool too. I'll definitely be checking more of this. Issue 6 of Ed Brisson's Silverhawks reboot. This has been great so far. If you'd like to see more about this or hear more about this, check out the Ed Brisson interview we did a few weeks ago. But here we have the Commander Stargazer. He's the old grizzled cop here who put away the Monstar villain many years ago in jail, and it almost killed him doing it. And he created that original Silverhawks team to do so. And like I said, they barely were able to do it. Monstar is broken out, and him and his gang have gone across the universe, basically enforcing their own will and killing people and that. So the commander there has formed a new Silverhawks team, and they're trying to deal with all this. So we find out in this issue that the Tally Hawk here has been made, and it's kind of like cybernetic bird that flies through space and is their eye in the sky in that, and it finally tracks down Monstar's base, and they're going to head there to attack him. It is a great book so far. Do get caught up on it. You can, like you said, it is only issue 6, I believe. So we got a few issues to go there. It's probably the first paperback out now. Great book. Issue 2 of Sisterhood. This is one of the Hyde Street spin-offs. We had two best friends, two girls that spent their whole lives together growing up, and once they hit college, they've kind of strayed apart a little bit just from different interests. One girl went and was trying to join a sorority and end up through bullying and forced drinking and that, like we see that happens in that one girl was killed, and she is now a ghost that kind of lives inside her friend because of their such close connection, almost sisters, but they can only see each other through like mirrors and reflections and that. So the reflection ghost lady has convinced her to try and join this sorority as well too, to help take down the girls and get her revenge in that. So we do see that here. It's been a pretty neat story so far, as this girl gets into the sorority and starts trying to figure out what to do. And there's just some great artwork in here as well too. So this is kind of creepy and neat and just enjoyable. Next issue of Thundercats, another great series that's been rebooted and doing awesome. The Thundercats have been dealing with fighting with mutants and that, and at the end of the last issue they found Bengali, who is one of the guys that was sent on an original before these Thundercats to the Third Earth to Scope and that, who are seeing that Thundercats Lost series. So that's kind of connecting here. And we're also seeing Lion-O as well shows up. But it's not Lion-O, he's the Apex character, who is like a futuristic version of him. So all this is going on as well. So it's neat to see them finally tying things together. From Dark Horse, we have issue 2 of Tramps of the Apocalypse. This was a pretty fun and surprising read last month. I like how it's like monochromatic here. It's a futuristic apocalyptic world where men rule everything, kind of like definitely Mad Max style. And there's these group of women here who are out trying to survive. And they've come across this one guy who's being chased by these other people and that. So really neat fun here. Like I said, has like this Mad Max feel to it with these group of women. Pretty funny, doesn't take itself too seriously, and just has a little bit of like sexiness, sassiness to balance it out. So I enjoyed this book. It's pretty fun. The next issue of Ultimate Wolverine number 8, they introduced the Archangel character in here, so that's pretty cool. Wolverine's still struggling with his past, how he was the Winter Soldier in that, but he's back with his rebel team after being brainwashed by that group, and it shows them trying to infiltrate this base and break out some more mutants, of course. And once they get inside, they find that everybody in the base has been killed, and there's just this confused and mentally unstable Warren, who is the Archangel, one of the projects, much like Wolverine. So Wolverine remembers him from the experiments in that, and they have to encounter him and end up fighting him, and he's a pretty cool vicious version, even better than the original one we see, and he actually takes out a few of these X-Men characters, they're not X-Men, but these rebel characters that we know, so that's kind of cool as well. They go full throttle on this Ultimate series. Nobody's safe, so like I said, they just kind of killed Abigail there and Beast. So from Mad Cave, we have issue 3 of Whatever Happened to the Crimson Justice. This is kind of like a Dark Knight Returns story there. We have this one fellow here who runs a breakfast cafe place, and he used to be the Crimson Justice, and of course he gave that up years ago and just lives a quiet life running this restaurant. But now he has started seeing his dead teen sidekick. His name is Reddy, and he's trying to convince him to, be the bad angel on his shoulder type of thing, and convince him to be, start, being this, vigilante again. At the same time, he has been thinking about it because crime is getting super bad, and this woman who comes into his breakfast place quite often, she's the girlfriend of a gangster, and of course they have a complicated thing going on there as well. So this is all being triggered by the supposedly like the reappearance of a serial killer, which was the arch nemesis. I think his name is Dr. Chaos or something like that. And apparently he was dead and he's back as well. So neat book. Kind of like I said, has that whole Dark Knight feel to it. And at the end of this issue, we find out that he's had enough and he is going to become this Crimson Justice character. But like I said, he's definitely unstable. And lastly, I read digitally. I read the one shot that Chris Claremont did on Wolverine. This takes place during his original Wolverine run series, and when he first took over the X-Men stuff. Has Sabretooth in Japan trying to kill the Mariko, the fiance and love of Wolverine. So we see, even though it's called Wolverine, this is mostly a Sabretooth book. It's told by his point of view in that. He narrates it. And it just shows them going crazy on each other in that, and also the few other X-Men showing up as well to help deal with it as well. So great story, lots of action here. Very familiar because again, this is something we know has happened already, but just the neat seeing Chris Claremont go back to these original story and characters and do something more of it. So just proves how badass that Wolverine is, but Sabretooth is even more so. Alright, that's what I read digitally. We'll see you guys in a couple seconds for a handful of books that I read in the raw. Okay, everybody, here's what I read in the raw. First off, from Bad Idea, we have Cul-de-sac. Excellent artwork in here, and also I love the paper in here. It kind of has like that old newsprint feel, and it smells like it too. Like I said, I love the artwork in here. It definitely has that scratchy, drawn look there. Great coloring in here as well too. This book is about a group of 3 families, a group of kids that all go away for a summer retreat with one of the parents. They all live at the end of a cul-de-sac, hence the word cul-de-sac. And it turns out that they are vampires, and their parents are all vampires and that. So the kids find this all out, and now when they get back home, they have to start learning to deal with this. But when they do get home, it turns out their parents have been killed by these vampire hunting force. So the kids are on the run now. They're trying to figure out whether to not only live a normal life, but live a vampire life and survive from these vampire hunters. So great book here, great artwork. Yeah, it's just really fun. I really enjoyed this a lot. I think a lot of people will start getting some of these Bad Idea books now because they are a little bit more available to the public. Before they were kind of, it was hard to get them, but now they're available for everywhere. So definitely check out Cul-de-sac. Another one that I thought was kind of cool was from Panic Comics. We have issue 1 of Tama. It's kind of a story of like, what if Tamagotchis and Pokemons and stuff like that came to life and were kind of evil. Like, so we start off here at this kind of computer lab science company where it seems like some kind of experiment has gone wrong, and they have to contain it to save humanity and that. And then it switches over to a house. It's in Portland, and it's a guy who's helping his mom clean up some boxes out of the garage, and they're from her work. And he goes back to start playing video games with his friends. And they come across in one of the boxes, he finds the drive from his mom's work, some decommissioned games from a company they took over, and it has this like the Digimon kind of things on it, or Tamagotchis and that. So he starts fooling around and playing with it on his computer and his VR set and that. And it turns out this is the program that was first in the beginning there. So these things seem like normal Tamagotchis and that, but then they turn out to be kind of like psychotic, obsessive killers. So that's really neat as well too. So great artwork and color in here as well. Fun stories so far. I'm looking forward to reading the rest of these. So, from Panic, that is Tama. From Boom Studios, we have The War. This is more of a serious book for sure. It's about people and trying to deal with all the political beliefs that's going on and the threat of a nuclear war. And yeah, and it actually starts happening. The nuclear war does start happening, and these people are stuck in the city trying to deal with it. And yeah, it's just a very serious book here. Not a whole lot of action in here besides the bomb going off at the end, but this is definitely more of a suspense and drama book. So that's pretty fun as well. Or I won't say fun, but that's a great read as well. So The War. Mark Spears Monsters, number 6. Love all these books. I'm a huge Mark Spears fan, especially with his artwork in that. And this is continuing on here with the monster hunter going after these monsters. And you see every kind of monster impossible you think here. We see witches. You see kind of creatures from like Lord of the Rings, wizards and stuff. We see punk zombies. We see that's that killer spy lady. What else do we see here? That's the Wolfman and the Hunters, and just great artwork. This is all painted by Mark. Truly love it. We see these kids being saved like by this hero, and this hero kind of is like a sentry type of person, so he's not necessarily a hero, he's just all powerful. So yeah, I can just, even the story itself is not the super greatest story. I really enjoy the story about this monster hunter and that, and yeah, especially love all the artwork. So if you're a person that hasn't been checking out the Mark Spears monster stuff, definitely do. We have from Boom, we have a new one called Blink and You'll Miss It. This is a really cool book. I quite enjoyed it. You have this town here where is been many years past since this one woman has left this town. I think it said like 25 years. She ran away and she's back now, and she's trying to deal with some stuff that has haunted her all this time since she's left. So this town is a very creepy town. Kind of feels like it's kind of lost in time, kind of like they're repeating time over in that. And when she does start seeing people that she has recognized, they don't really remember or recognize here. So there's definitely something going on in this town causing people to be forgetful and time looping kind of stuff. But it's really good. Kind of weird, kind of strange. And I'm enjoying it so far as well. See, definitely something kind of cult supernatural about this town. So blink and you'll miss it. We have the new issue of Santos Sisters here. Kind of like I won't say an Archie parody, but it's a satire kind of. But these are like a spoof of Archie, even that. But it's definitely everything's done in that Archie style. But these are the Santos Sisters. 2 sisters who are superheroes. They've had the power of this one goddess bestowed upon them, and they become superheroes when they need to, but at the same time they're dumb teenagers. But this book is, what differs from it from the Archie stuff is this book is very adult oriented. Lots of sexual innuendos, lots of adult themes in that, but again with that Archie style artwork on it. So I love this book. It's a lot of fun. I've covered the first 6 issues, I think, in the hardcover one a little while ago. So it's good to see these keep coming out. And they were a Eisner Award nominees, so that's pretty cool too. So, like I said, check this book out if you can. And also, if you want to check out all the earlier stuff, go get that hardcover that collects it. So, like I said, this is kind of like Archie stuff with a lot more sexual adult humor to it. So, the Santos sisters. And lastly, something that's totally random but fun. I had a friend that was in Italy last week, and I said to her, hey, if you happen to see a comic book around, pick me up one. So she picked me up this Italian comic of, it's Disney, it's called Peperino. I guess that means comic or something over there. It's brand new, August 25. That is the price there. I don't know what that is in Canadian, but this is digest size. I think this is more what the new Archie sizes are going to be like. And we just have a bunch of Disney stories in here, so this is really fun. Makes me think of the books I read when I was a kid. So again, just different Disney adventure stories. We got the Donald Duck character here, and Gyro Duck, and we got some Uncle Scrooge in here. We got some of the older stuff here too. So just some great Disney stuff here, but it is in Italian. So I just wanted to see what it would be like in that. I can't read Italian or anything, but just thought this was kind of neat. And this is what they have for comics in Italy. All right, buddy, that's what I read this week in the Raw. Hope to see you next week for more reviews. Peace out. Like, share, and subscribe.